there's a big thing about these woke women. They're the only women I date now because the tables have turned, you see. I don't know what misogyny is or sexism. I've never quite worked out what it is. I'm a man, so according to some, I'm a misogynist. I'm sexually toxic because I get an erection sometimes when I'm sexually attracted to a woman. But the thing is that that sort of offends them. But the thing is about woke women now, they buy you dinner, they get you a few drinks, and they seduce you. They welcome up to the fact to be equal to a man. They've got to act a bit like a man instead of expecting men to act like women, and therefore more and more men are putting on dresses, which is rather incongruous, really. They want men to be more like transsexuals rather than men. That therefore, then woke women prefer transgender men, apparently. Yeah, so I don't know. But there you go, you see, it's come full circle now, and these woke women, be careful, boys, because be careful, they only out to seduce you for what you've got, not for what you are. And that's what they're woke up what they can get from you, and then if you fail them sort of sexually, they'll say, oh, me too failed, he failed me as well, sort of thing. It was sexual abuse, not a sexual intercourse, because I didn't have an orgasm. I'm entitled to an orgasm equal to men, that sort of thing. I don't quite know what which way they're called woke. Woke means away from a sleep, or like out of a sleep, or slumber. And I don't know if they're not living in some sort of illusion and some sort of dreamland where the woke women are also pushing the idea we should respect transgender people who are men who then have still got a willy, but they're dressed as women, and then they're saying, oh, you're being discriminatory if you don't date a transgender woman or man, whatever it is. So, but you'd have to be homosexual to date a transgender woman. You couldn't be an heterosexual man and really fancy a bloke in a dress, no matter how tarts themselves up, how much lipstick they put on or what they put on. You don't really get turned on by something that you find that you might have a phobia about going near. There's nothing unnatural about having a phobia about kissing a bloke in a dress. It's just normal. It's just normal. I don't fancy kissing a bloke in a dress, and that does not make me homophobic. It just makes me normal, as far as I'm concerned. It's not a phobia. It's just very, very normal not to want to kiss a bloke in a dress unless you're homosexual. And then it's normal for them to want to kiss a bloke in a dress. That sort of contradicts the idea that they're homosexual. If they're homosexual kissing a bloke in a dress, then maybe they think it's a woman. So maybe they're a little bit confused themselves about what they really are. Are they homosexual or really heterosexual, but prefer blokes in dresses? Or transgender men? But it all gets right. We're all confused, you see. We're all very, very confused about all this political correctness. There's so much confusion in the mind of humanity, the rest of humanity. We can't even have, we could have a relatively scientific and pathological conversation about the phenomenon, what's caused it. For a start, these women are the result, by the way, of women or mothers that are purely materialistic. They've forgotten the maternal instinct. This began in the 90s. You can date it chronological order by the age of the woke women. We're 2020 now. That's 30 years since 1990. When there was going around then, when some women were saying, don't get connected to your children. Don't breastfeed your children because they will become connected to you. And that's socialisers. Mammalian social societies, mammalian social society, where it's all classes of mammals actually socialise through the female breastfeeding the young. And that they went around and said, no, don't do that. Go and get a career. It'll ruin your career and all that sort of stuff. So they become totally materialistic, not maternalistic. And therefore, this is the second generation of that, this woke culture of females. is a generation that have no connection to maternalism. They've got a connection to purely materialism, purely materialistic women with no spirit, a very little spiritual connection to their actual what should have been their material instincts. They don't have them. Maybe they should go and get some psychologists to go through some sort of course. Go and cuddle a baby or something. Go and cuddle a baby, you know. So get some nurturing back into them. Cuddle a few babies in the ward. Can I cuddle a baby and feel what it's like to cuddle a baby? Or to even cuddle a man with affection without wanting anything. Cuddling a man without laying next to him with affection and love, without the sex, without anything. Cooking a meal for a man. Feel what it's like to cook a meal for a man who's worked all day and worked out. Feel what it's like to cook a meal for children and see them all eat it and say, wow, that was a lovely meal. That was beautiful. Thank you, mother. To feel that great satisfaction. I know this is a mishmash, but it really isn't. It's a shortened version of a long speech. That if these ladies who are woke have no understanding what it's like the satisfaction, the greatest satisfaction in the world of anyone who is to cook a meal and watch your family eat it. It doesn't matter if a man cooks a meal or the mum cooks a meal. It's not the point. But if they're cooking a meal what's nutritious and tasty and everyone enjoys it, is the greatest satisfaction in the world, because you're benefiting your family in a real, true, capital and spiritual way. You're creating a thing called a family, which is extremely important. And the woke culture is part of a politically correct program, which is to try and destroy the Western family system. That's what it's all about. Maybe they don't understand that, because that's a bit of a complicated thing about evolutionary psychology that's behind all this. I said this is a shorter version of what could be an hour-long, 2-hour speech on a very complex subject about degeneration or regressive pathological MIMS being driven entirely through PC, first of all taking maternal instinct from mothers and then passing it on to their daughters, a purely materialist instinct, and some sort of hatred for men because men are toxic if they're heterosexual for some reason. And without that heterosexuality, we don't make babies. I mean, our biological need and genetic need is to procreate. That's normal. According to them, that's white supremacists by wanting to make one of your own. Not black supremacists by them wanting to make one of their own, but it's white supremacists apparently from a bloke wanting to make one of his own with a lady who shares that sort of biological need and that love to create another person. And I think the woke ladies, you've got to see and have sympathy for them and compassion, because what they miss is love. Maternally love. They miss true love of their mothers. That maternal love. Not, here, here's £5 or here's $5, go and buy this, go and buy that, go on, here's the internet, go on the iPad, whatever. These are the iPad generation, whatever it is. Go on the phone, bugger off, get out of my ear, I'm too busy with my own career, bugger you kids, I'll go and get takeaway food. And this is the most significant part. 1 in 4 beds in Australia are taken over by diabetics. The reason that is poor mothering, poor diet from a very early age, and you will see the bloom of diabetes is caused by too much carbohydrates, too much sugar, and whatever that it serves out to placate children instead of nutritional food before them. Placation food rather than nutritional food has caused the bloom of diabetics, and it's some sort of way of doing it in the population, if you like, by killing off the maternal instincts back in the 90s, and what is has now become like a plague of illness and psychological problems within Western society. That's all it is. But I'm waiting for one of these woke women to come and, buy me dinner, buy me drink, and seduce me. Come on, let's see how awake you are, to see what you're really. Have you become equal? Yeah, you're really equal to what? Not to our mothers, the old-fashioned mothers. Sorry, equal. You're not equal to old-fashioned mothers. Nothing in the world is equal to an old-fashioned mother, regardless of her race or colour, creed or religion. An old-fashioned mother is the most important value in the human race.